Can you really learn a language with TV shows? It depends. Today I'd really love to show you 3 practical examples. You're probably familiar with the expression, with the sentence. If you want to learn a language, you should watch TV shows in that language, and I myself say that. I myself recommend this to my students. The issue is, it's not always true, it's not always feasible. The practical and the precise tips about this method are thin on the ground. At the moment, we're going to start with French, but you can apply this to any language you're learning. The core element that we're gonna start from are subtitles. They are an incredible asset. You can read, so you have a visual cue of what you're trying to learn, along with the phonetic aspect, the sound. Now, let's say I want to watch a TV show in French. In this language, I am on good terms, to be honest. The thing is, now we are considering a language we are familiar with, but not so confident in. When you're in this type of level, what you want to do is having a notebook or your phone notes, your digital notes. Whenever I encounter a word I am not familiar with, I jot it down. I am taking notes. This is fundamental. And now, practical tip number 2, you're not writing the single word, the single piece of vocabulary. You're writing the sentence, the expression, even the context, if you will. You could write that it was a fight, an argument, or a happy situation. Writing the feeling, the context, and the words before and after doesn't make it just a random abstract word, but it gives it context. It makes so much more sense. This takes time. This is something I've always done, and that's why I also think that platforms such as Lingopie make it so much easier. And Lingopie is a platform where you can learn languages while watching TV shows and films. This platform is incredible for language learning because it combines entertainment and utility, which in our case is learning the language. It is regularly updated, so you never run out of things to watch. You can choose your favorite genre, you can choose the level, so you have a beginner, an intermediate, and an expert level. And you can watch while having the subtitles. I've chosen a cooking program because I want to learn how to order food, because probably, fingers crossed, I'm visiting a francophone country. So I really wanted to improve my food vocabulary and how to say that I'm allergic or I have some food preferences. And what you can do is that you can personalize it as if it were your digital notebook. You can click on a single word and you can save it on your favorites list. You choose that expression and you also have grammar infos, which in my opinion is incredible. You don't lose the thread, you don't lose the discourse or the word, which really oftentimes happens, because you also have a lateral script. So you can click on that and go back to that point, and you can listen to that single word again and again. You can also check your list of vocabulary, and I promise you I would have loved to have this kind of program when I was a teenager, when I was an adolescent. You get personalized flashcards, you have quizzes, there are even songs. You can also simply just repeat the vocabulary list you have, and that's great, and I'll tell you later in the video why. To me, this is such an effective yet fun way to learn languages. If you want to try the platform, you can access a 7-day free trial. And look at my description down below, there's going to be a special link with a discount. I'm currently using the app to practice my French, as I've told you, and I'm also starting to consider Russian. I've started Russian. I want to get used to the way Russians speak. And tell me in the comments what is the language you watch your TV shows in, or what are the languages? Let me know. Something that is very oftentimes also forgotten is that you want to repeat these words. You don't want to check the meaning, and then you then you just forget about them. What you want to do is finding a way to repeat these words. And now let's change the POV and let's talk about a language you have no clue about. So in my case, let's do Russian, which is very practical because I've just started learning Russian. Confusing, very confusing, but it's not the topic of the video. Is it indeed a good idea to watch a TV show in a language you basically don't know much about? I get some positive aspects out of it. For example, the musicality. I start hearing and listening to some frequent words. They kind of sink in. We can adapt to some expressions, and somehow this happened to me also with Korean. Some words I can even identify. But let's talk about the negative aspects. I believe that the downside of this is of paramount importance because first of all, you get false expectations. If people tell you, oh, you watch a TV show and you learn the language. I tried watching Dark. I don't know if you remember this TV show, it was huge. I tried watching it in German and it really made me feel stupid. You get this feeling of, oh, I can't understand the language if I watch a TV show. And this frequently happens also with English. My English students say it all the time. I watch Friends, I watch Big Bang Theory, I watch How I Met Your Mother, very standard and popular sitcoms. But I cannot understand what they're saying. I cannot use that type of language. False expectation. If you're not good with the language, you should probably stop at 2 or 3 minutes of that episode and practicing that again and again and again. But when you're a beginner, an episode would take you forever, let alone a TV show. TV shows are great in a second moment. At the same time, you get discouraged because you feel like you are not making progress. You should give up because this is too difficult to watch. How could I understand them? I have no clue what they're saying. Having too much exposure and expecting to understand that, it creates discomfort. It makes you feel uneasy. And then there's also point number 3. You wouldn't even enjoy the show because you're getting all of these feelings and you truly do not get it. In this situation, I recommend being patient and trying to get a general idea, grasping the language a bit more. And then with time, you can start transitioning into TV shows. I've tried watching Lupin last year when my French was awkward, was basically quite rusty, and I gave up after 5 minutes of the episode because I just couldn't get it. And I know that if now I keep practicing, this year my attempt will be successful and I'll update you about it. And now let's move on to our third example, which is in my case English. My goal whenever I watch a TV show, my goal is a bit more advanced and ambitious. What can you do to step up the game? I have 2 practical situations here. Situation number 1, jargon. If you want to watch a TV show about medicine, if you want to watch a legal TV show, you can truly improve your vocabulary following different contexts. There are always phrases, expressions, or vocabulary that I'm not aware of because no matter how advanced you are, if you're a learner, jargon is usually tricky. Or you could practice pronunciation. Do you want a pen? Do you want a pen? Do you want a pen? This is called linking, and this is so crucial for understanding native speakers or to sound more like a native speaker. And this is what I try to do. My accent is not typically English. I have various influences because I speak more languages, so I also have a very peculiar English accent. But what I love to do sometimes when I have some free time is I really like British accent. I could watch an interview or a TV show, and what I can do is watch a bit of the episode and trying to repeating the same expressions, the same things they're saying, trying to emulate the way they're pronouncing words, the way they're swearing in the show, the way They are speeding up and then slowing down. And intonation. I sometimes have issues with intonation because I speak Italian, different type of intonation. And then I speak Polish, which is also different. And I'm learning French. So all of these somehow influence also my English. It's good to practice pronunciation. And I'm not saying this for beginner or intermediate levels, but as well if you're advanced. I mean, you can still work on that when you're an intermediate level, but sometimes you might still struggle with vocabulary. You might focus on the single word or a single expression. Whereas when you're watching an entire episode, maybe there are some parts that are intriguing and you just want to stop and start replaying them. I remember falling in love with an expression from Husband Hotel. One of my favorite expressions in English is preposterous. This is preposterous. And I try repeating that. I've repeated it so many times one evening. I just started saying, that's preposterous, that's preposterous, that is preposterous. And it sounds fake. What I say usually doesn't sound like that, but it's good practice. It's fun. It's really funny. So I hope these tips have been helpful, and I hope you can truly enjoy the process, because getting input is fundamental, but if you're not enjoying it, it could lead to boredom. I wish these were also taught more often at school. And I've actually made an entire video about what I would have loved to learn at school. I'm gonna leave you the link over here. And yeah, let me know in the comments what languages you're trying to watch your TV shows in. And I'll see you very soon with a new piece of content. Bye. Oh yeah.